In this video, I'll be demonstrating the standard bind off. I've got a little bit of knitting here and I'm all done, and I want to get it off of my needles, but I need to do something to keep these stitches from unraveling. So I'm going to go ahead and knit this first stitch as normal. Making sure not to do it too tightly. Then I'm going to knit the second stitch, and here's where the bind off comes in. I'm going to use my left needle and insert it under that first stitch and use it to pass that stitch over the second one while still keeping that stitch on the needle. Let's do that again. I'll knit the next stitch, not too tightly, take my left needle, catch that first stitch, and drag it over the second stitch. Now I still have one stitch on my needle, and I'm never going to have more than one stitch on the needle after I finish that bind off. I'll never have more than two stitches on the needle when I begin the bind off. So I have two stitches, take that left needle, catch the first stitch, and pass it over the second stitch. Now you can see I'm starting to get a little row of braids there, and that's going to be my bind off edge. Let's do that again. I'll knit the next stitch as normal. I have two stitches on my needle. I pass the first stitch over the second one, and I've bound off another stitch. I have only one stitch on the needle. Let's continue that down the rest of the row. Knit the next stitch, pass the first stitch over the second. Knit the next stitch, and pass the second stitch over. Knit the next stitch, pass it over. Whoops. There we go. And the next stitch. Grab that first stitch, pass it over, and our last stitch. Go. Might have to hold on to things here in order to give yourself some tension to get that off. Pass it off. And finally, we are left with one last stitch on the needle. I'm going to elongate that stitch a little bit just by tugging it up. And then I can break my yarn or cut it, whichever is your preference. I'm going to break it. Now I can elongate that just a little bit more. There we go. And then I can simply feed that yarn tail through the loop that I made. Pull on it, but not too tightly, so we don't want to elongate that last stitch too much. I'm left with two tails that will weave in later, a nice braided edge that matches my cast on edge, and everything's bound off. That's the standard bind off.